So was born in Russia, in Siberia, this capital of Siberia. So this is a funny place where you have extreme weather during the summer and during the winter. If it's minus 40 Fahrenheit at winter, it's a bad day for you,
That's
but
right.
it happens there.
Welcome, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
My first podcast, I guess. So
Awesome. I love when I'm the first podcast that somebody's on
oh
because I'm
yeah,
very laid back. I'm not professional. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing on here, so
nobody knows what we're doing, so that's top to find.
yeah, it's very casual, laid back. We just talk. Um, I usually tell people before I have them on, like, I don't have a format. I don't have like formatted questions. We're just gonna, a casual conversation about your background and like introduce yourself and that kind of thing, and then how you got to where you're at now. And if that includes airsoft or paintball or anything, that's then good. If not, then like I've had people on that actually don't play airsoft. That so they're involved in the airsoft community because they go to like one of these guys I had on was a military vet, and him and I were both in the Marine Corps, and at different times, not together. But he does. He sets up a trailer at different events and sells like T-shirts and hats, and he makes a lot of these things on his own. He has his own company that. Matter of fact, shout out to Green Wolf Tactical for all the stuff you put out, man. It's cool. So anyway, he's never played airsoft, so he just goes to these events because he has like tactical gear and that kind of thing, and it's appropriate, obviously, for airsofters want tactical gear.
Yeah, yeah. I guess all the tactical gear is appropriate for airsoft. Not all airsoft gear is appropriate for real world. So
Right.
yeah, makes sense.
Exactly. Yep.
Hence,
Yeah. So we'll do the same thing, man. Introduce yourself, and then kind of give a background on yourself, like where you grew up and what got you to where you're at now, and then how you started into airsoft or paintball or whatever, and then I want to talk about this AI stuff you're working on.
yeah. So my story is kind of complicated, but I will try to make it short and clear.
Oh, and there's no time
um,
limit on these, so we can talk. Just if you want to tell long, there's no hurry. I'm saying if you want to tell a full
yeah,
story, go ahead. Feel comfortable. If not, it's up to you. It's fine.
yeah. So was born in Russia, in Siberia, this capital of Siberia. So this is a funny place where you have extreme weather during the summer and during the winter. So I'm just starting getting grasp on Fahrenheit because I used to use Celsius, but I would say that if it's I don't know -20 at winter, it's okay. If it's -30, it's less appropriate. If it's -40 Fahrenheit at winter, it's a bad day for you,
That's
but
right.
it happens there. Yeah. So my I just in comparison to other folks who played airsoft like for years, for decades, I just started because I really started in September last year,
Awesome.
and
Okay.
yeah, so this was like start as I played Call of Duty, Battlefield a lot in recent years, and I was just like I want to try in real life, right? So why didn't I yet try
Yeah.
it? So I went to local field, Long Island. In Long Island, we have this Strike for Sport, great indoor CQB arena. So I went there, I tried, and I love it. So I started play every weekend, and I had one milsim event. It was mere tactical in Florida, in McCully. I guess like a abandoned prison. So it was December last year. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so I cannot say that I'm super experienced, but I guess I put a lot of time learning the previous weeks, months, and like collecting knowledge about this stuff. Because when I start in something, I'm often super focused on the subject.
You're all in.
Right.
Yeah, gung ho. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's people, people with ADHD. When you are focused, you focused. When you're not, you're not.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're not on the most of the subjects. Um, yeah.
So how
But
was it? How was it growing up? Like, what was daily life like growing up in Siberia? Somewhere that's is it snowy and cold like most of the year, or like what's the summer like?
uh, not most of the year. Like in summer, you can get 80, 90 Fahrenheit, like easy. So it's oftentimes too hot somewhere,
Damn
too
it! Yeah,
cold
that
in
gets hot.
winter.
Okay.
Yeah. So the same as here, I guess. Um, you know, not nothing super crazy about it. It's a fun fact that I guess it's because of like politeness, right? But people ask me where I'm from. I'm saying I am from Russia, and they say it's like 99%. The response is, "Oh, nice," and it's I wouldn't say it's super nice. If it was nice, I've been there still, but I'm here in the US.
Yeah, if it was that
You
nice,
know,
you'd still be there. Okay, I gotcha.
yeah. I recommend everybody who wants to try, and then to
Uh-huh.
decide where it's better, to be.
Sure.
So, because a lot of people have misconception about like about Russia and politics and all this stuff.
Right. Well, that's the
So I
thing too
always say
is
like,
we always I
uh,
feel like we don't get we get one side of the story a lot of times. Like here in America, we get
yeah,
American news, American perspective, American, this kind of thing. Once in a while you get uh, people that were not from Russia that had gone there and visited come over here and they have a different perspective. But most of the time, it's all pretty much like really curated, like specific type of way of thinking about Russia or wherever, all these different
yeah.
countries, and we don't really know. It's we don't really know what it's like.
It's just same in Russia, like in terms of US. So
Hmm.
this super super like narrow perspective from the
Right,
TV
narrow.
propaganda, and like if you compare this, you can create the whole world of illusion and where everything is crazy.
It
So
is, man, for real.
uh,
Yeah, that's how it seems, right?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, but yeah. In short, once upon a time, I just kind of got the idea what I want from my life, and the I set a goal to find myself here
Mm-hmm.
in US, because there was a person, the my future fiance, uh, who uh, who were moving to the US from Russia to pursue PhD, and I wanted to join her. And
Yeah.
once upon a time, I didn't have a plan, but I started like learn stuff, and it's connected to the initial subject, the like AI command, right? I started to learn how to program, how to code, and I started trying to make myself more valuable in the market, so I could get like land an offer from US, for example,
Right.
and to move here. But yeah,
Were you always into coding or software design or engineer at
um,
all?
so I started my career as like business analyst.
Yeah.
So this is basically a person who doesn't code, but who is closer to people who code. And my job was to create technical documentation, basically about the code that should be written, right? So I kind of touched this subject, but really started to learn it like a few years ago. And when I really understood what can be done with if you can code, I kind of discovered a lot of things I'm interested in. One of these things is this AI command, as I as I named it, right? And many more. So this kind of creates opportunity for you to be creative, as I feel it. Ability to code
Yeah.
things.
Okay. How about your family? Were they into like computer stuff, or what kind of work did they do? What was your influence?
No, they don't. I wouldn't say I had any like example in my family or my friends. I had a few friends who coded, but uh, not to brag, but everything I have right now, I think it's like I learned myself,
Mm,
and of course I got like support from my family, like education.
sure.
But even my education and my school times, it's nowhere near what I use now every day. So I learned really the almost useful things I learned after university,
Uh-huh.
after school, like myself, like Coursera and other platforms. I just when I understood what I want, I learned myself and
Right.
started this path. So I hope it sounds inspiring for people who want to start from the scratch something they want, but they
Absolutely,
don't know
man.
how to do this, how to approach this. So
That's how I think a lot of people. Well, the way I grew up too was regular school was really boring to me. Like I slept. I would just fall asleep in class, especially
oh yeah,
when I was in high school, like when I was like 15, 16, 17. I was starting to kind of rebel against my parents. So I was like sneaking out at the house at night. I was going to parties with friends and getting back in, really late. I would stay up late, I would light a candle in my room because I wasn't allowed to, be awake um,
yeah,
past a certain time, but I wasn't tired. So I would light a candle in my room so my parents didn't see the light. And, and I would draw, right? I would just draw pictures. And, so, and then I would go to school, and I was so tired. Like, so I got 3 hours of sleep, and the
oh
first two
my, yeah,
classes in school were just like, dude, if we're not doing something active, I cannot sit there and listen to you talk. I'm out. So
yeah,
I learned most of my stuff from on like hands-on training. When my dad was a mechanic, so he worked on cars, and so he taught me like how to work on cars when I was like 5 years old, and he'd say, here, he'd have the car running. He'd say, here, put your, he'd have the hood up. And we are looking in there. He's like, here, grab this right here. He took one of the wires off the spark plugs while it's running. He's like, here, touch the end of this right here. And I'd get a little shock, So he's like, yeah, don't
interesting.
ever do that. I'm like, oh, thanks. But, but yeah, I learned a lot of hands-on type of stuff, and then after high school, military. So, it was schooling wasn't really. I learned the social structure of life, right, in
Yeah,
school. But
hmm
as far as like academics, I was just really bored with most of the classes.
same here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I only personally loved history lessons, and
Hmm.
I don't know how to translate it, like a social.
Social studies, yeah, that's what we call it here. Social studies, like all the. Uh, it's not really history. It's kind of mixed with history, but
Yeah, a little bit of a low economics,
cultural.
everything.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Whatever affected the that culture at that time, like the economics, the social statuses, and the all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of mix. So yeah, I totally get it. Like the same. Uni too. Like 4 years. University, nothing interested me. Only at one point when I understood that if I successful at university, I can make some money. Like this, they pay you for your successes. So I started cheating then, and because in Russia it's super normal to do,
Mm.
like cheating all the exams, all the work, because I was not interested in this. So yeah, and only after university I started to actually learn something like what's interesting for me.
Yeah.
So I very often, like, I'm discussing these times with my friends, and we kind of agree that something within the education system, like institutional education, at least in my country, it's broken like severely. There's no leaders there that you could use an example, like knowledgeable person, like successful person. But it's complex, it's a very complicated problem, like, and yeah, so what can I do?
I remember hearing somebody talk. It was like one of these business entrepreneur type of speakers or whatever, and he said, when you go to college to learn, when you take a class in business, they don't teach you how to own a business. Like, none of those professors have owned a business. They have no idea. They've only worked a job. They have no idea how to be a business owner. They can only teach you how to run someone else's business. And I was like, I never really thought about that, because these guys are teaching from, like, they're not leading by example. They're they're teaching from book stuff, and a lot of that stuff is not translatable to the real world.
Yeah, absolutely. I just recalled we also had the the business class, the same, like the how to run a business, and all the lectures was just like reading. This person read from the paper, and we wrote something, and I only recall that it was like this. It was useless, absolutely useless. So this is super big problem. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know how to. I know people who are successful at school, who learn stuff, who remember stuff. I don't know how they do this. I don't know how to get motivation. If I don't have motivation, nothing will be done.
I can tell you, because my wife is like that. She could get straight A's, 100% in any class she takes. Okay, in high school she did that. In college she's done that, and she's been to 3 different colleges, and at different times. And she any class she ever took, it's like A's. You know how she does it? It is literally, she's not really like one of those people that can just read something one time and then remember it. She writes note cards. Even today, even with all the technology we have with tablets and laptops, she hand writes note cards, and she'll buy a stack of them, and then whatever she's studying, whatever chapter, she'll write out all these notes, and then that's how she learns. It's like reading, then writing it, and then memorizing all this stuff. It's like she puts a lot of time into it, to be honest. Like, way more time than I would put into it, okay? Which is why she gets A's and I don't. So, yeah, that's how you do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this works. And of course, if you repeat something several times, even I can learn something, but I will forget very soon if it's not meaningful to me. So
I'm way more like practical application. Like, it has to make sense to me, like in the real world. Like, how does this work? How does it fit together? And if I don't understand that, then I'm really not going to learn it. Like, I'm going to have a really, really hard time learning it, because I'm not interested. I won't pursue something I'm not interested in. It's just, I'll just go somewhere else. Like, that's it.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like funny that, for example, last week I actually started to recall something from geometry classes, because I needed to use like sinus, cosinus for the geometric calculation for my system, because I needed to know how to calculate the distance between 2 geolocations, and it also involved calculating for example, if you're an observer, you have a heading like 150, and you have a distance 50 meters for until the point of interest. You want to calculate the location of point of interest. You want to translate it, and then you want to calculate from perspective of your other teammates. You want to calculate, given the absolute point location, you want to calculate the heading. You want to need to see the point of interest and distance. So I actually started to recall something, and if somebody told me then that you can use this for calculation of distance, maybe I would remember it.
Right.
Maybe I would be interested, but nobody told me. So.
No, you're like, you get into that and you're going, oh, okay, so this does have application. I should have paid attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Luckily, we have the internet now. We just look that stuff up, okay?
Yeah, there's times when Wikipedia page told you more than 1 year and or one class, the whole class, like for half of a year. I don't know. This is hilarious.
That's funny. Yeah, so let's go into. Let me shout out Skirmish real quick because Brandon is actually the one that introduced us. So one of the sponsors, you guys can see. You and I can't see it. Well, I can, but the tags out at the bottom of the screen there, I have Skirmish and Jackal Tactical are the sponsors of the podcast. So Skirmish System, if you guys haven't seen it, you're going to hear more of it. I've been talking about it for over a year now. So I was fascinated with adding with that system, adding some kind of cool features to some airsoft games. And Jackal Tactical just joined on as a sponsor probably in the last 2 weeks. Appreciate you guys. So if you guys haven't seen those guys, go to skirmish.net to check it out and jacktac.com. So anyway, Jackal Tactical they have an airsoft store up in Pennsylvania. I think 2 stores actually. And now they have a production company where they put on airsoft events. So I'll have the links and all the videos for that. But so Brandon from Skirmish introduced me and you. How do you know Brandon, and how did you get into what you're doing now with AI Command? And I want to hear about what this thing is, what this process is.
Yeah. So first thing first. Yeah, I also really impressed by Skirmish system. I haven't yet tried, but the moment I kind of randomly browsed the internet and I discovered the Skirmish, I started like read about it and I was impressed because not every day you see innovations in airsoft, and this day I saw like innovation really, and I liked it because I am a fan of objective-based gameplay. I don't want to play TDM all the time. Unfortunately, TDM is all you can get most of the time. So skirmish is something I really count on, and I want this to spread a lot, like as much as possible. So what I did, I worked on my project, AI Command, and I discovered skirmish, and I just texted Brandon and said like, cool stuff. I have this system. Can it be, mixed, or how can we help each other? And we started this conversation of integrating stuff, like just conversations, just some examples, exchange of examples, and so yeah.
So you just randomly
haven't
found
tried.
him online and then just reached out to him?
Yeah, I
That's
think
awesome, dude.
I actually I had a list of airsoft events opened. I think it was random guycaf.com, this website, right? This is a guy who actually played the same airsoft field that I do, so this is why I found him. And then I seen this. New York doesn't have a lot of airsoft events, unfortunately.
Right.
So I've seen this one airsoft event, and this uses skirmish. So I was like, "What's skirmish? What do you mean by playing like Battlefield style game? What does it mean? I want to learn about this." So I learned about skirmish, and then I contacted Brandon. So this is the chain of events. Pretty interestingly led me to here where I am right now.
Awesome, man. Hang on 1 second. Do you mind if let me just take 2 seconds? My son just got here. He's picking up his daughter. Let me. He actually used to be on the channel. Let me see if he's in here real quick. Yeah, he. So we started our channel. There was 4 of us. There was me, and then 2 of my sons, and then their best friend. Hey, is Colt here? Hey, what's up, dude? I want to say hi to you before you leave. I'm talking. I'm doing a podcast with. Say hey to him. Hey, how you doing? It's Roman.
Okay. Amen.
So him and Brandon from Skirmish have been talking about doing some new cool stuff with airsoft events. So anyway, all right, brother. Good to see you, man. I know. All right, brother. See ya. Love you, man. Bye, Valentina. Awesome. Okay. So we had gone and got his daughter, and then my other son we got their daughter, and so they like to hang out, the cousins. So we took them to
Hmm.
this really cool kids play place. It's huge. It's like 13,000 square feet inside. It's got all these inflatables, like really big ones,
Oh.
man. I'm talking like, the big slides and stuff where they climb up. They look like rock
Hmm.
walls, and they climb up and they slide down this giant slide. They had like a Ferris wheel thing. It was really cool. Bunch of stuff. So my wife and I are probably more tired than the kids, but we wore them out, okay, and they wore us out. So anyway, yeah.
Oh, sounds like a playground that I personally would be interested in, hanging out because, I think adults want the same stuff as kids too. Just being crazy
Yep.
sometimes, just running around and jumping. Why not?
Right. Yeah, we need more of that, bro, for real. It's like people
Yeah.
get to be, 18, 19, 20, and they go to work and then they sit on their ass playing Call of Duty. Like, bro, let's go. Come on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
So that's pretty cool. So you reached out to Brandon and said, so how were you able to explain to him what your system is so that you guys could kind of start talking? Because when Brandon told me about you, he's like, dude, this guy, you got to talk to this guy. He's got this thing going on. He's developing this. It sounds really cool. And him and me and Brandon really clicked when we first met because I'm super into innovation, like what you were talking about earlier. And I get bored easily, and I see these like video games, most things in life, jobs. Okay, there's no innovation, man. It's like, come on, like after I'm into something for like 3 or 4 months, I'm pretty much done because I've learned everything there is about it because I go really focused into it. So I want to learn all these different, how this comes together and how this works and what this does and what this purpose is. And then I learn it all, and I'm like, okay, well, that's it. Let's go on to the next.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's yeah, so familiar to me. So I guess like average person is not super focused on something, and when you are super focused, you just extinguish this quickly,
yeah,
right?
right.
So as both of us. So this is kind of when I'm thinking about it, it's somehow complicated to even explain to myself.
Yeah,
So I will try to do my best to explain the stuff. Um, so it all started with this idea of like when I played first time Milsim, I understood that video games and reality is super different. And because I when I participated in this Milsim event, I thought it will be like Battlefield experience, Call of Duty experience, when everything is cool, is fast, is like like in video games, action packed. But
right.
then I realized, in reality, you don't have user interface, you don't have minimap, you don't have compass, you don't have your allies marked so you don't shot at them. You don't have anything. You just by your own. You don't understand what's going on. All people just standing and just looking around. They don't understand. They don't understand anything around. If you don't have tactical, I guess, knowledge and training, you just don't know what to do. You don't know where to run. You don't know if it's ally or if it's enemy. This green versus multicam doesn't work for me. If it's
And you don't know
50
who's winning.
bit,
Like, what?
yeah, and and what is bad that nobody really cares about who is winning in objective based game because everybody here just to shoot each other, even in Milsim, I guess. So nobody cares. Nobody cares like on objectives. This is sad for me.
Yeah,
So that's why skirmish is here, I guess, for this particular reason, because I would really want to know who's winning. I would really want to play objective. So skirmish, would help me if we had this system. This would have been more enjoyable for me personally. I guess for some people too. So we hadn't, unfortunately. um, so, but I remember we had, we had a great dude. I get I bet at names. So, yeah, it was Connor. He was like platoon commander for us, and he actually tried to make the game objective, like interesting. We had radio communication, and we at one moment we actually got the the order to bring the huge box to one of the buildings. It was super heavy box, 4 people carrying them, and so I don't know. It was something. It was something like some nuclear weapon in this box or something super valuable like gold, and you need to carry this. And I remember 2 dudes from the opposite team. They just ran into us, and I guess they had the same problem as myself, so they couldn't really understand that we are enemies actually, and then shoot at us. So we just I just like pew, what's going on? I'm not sure. Okay, I guess they hit. So it was like super random stuff. It was just I don't know, like nobody understood what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I landed New York after this weekend. I understood I want to do something about it if I can. And I started my research. First thing I discovered was ATAC, like Android Team Awareness Kit. And I started playing with it. I tried to, for example, if you add an point of interest on an enemy to the ATAC, I wanted some AI to process the battlefield and to make some assumptions about the battlefield and to signal near friendlies that there is an enemy or point of interest, please go check. So I wanted to replace an actual commander with an AI who is more capable of. And you could, the idea was every milsim event can have the AI command for each team free of charge, because it's an app, right? And you can use it and you can make your game objective based. You can make your game super. You can elevate the level of objectiveness. Like you can have the actual commander who will every second will do some processing, will issue a command via radio, will listen to your reports, and will somehow navigate the battlefield. I think the idea was really impressive to me for folks who I spoke to. But at this current moment, I am switching a little bit from this idea. I'm shooting from it, and what I'm doing right now is ecosystem of tactical awareness for Airsoft, which includes this AI command, which we will discuss a little bit later, right? In details. But today, right now, the AI command is just one piece of this system I'm developing right now. But this system AI command is maybe a huge one, even if you separate it. If you use it separately, it can make a difference.
Yeah.
So. Whew.
That's a lot. I know, right? Well, when Brandon first introduced us, and then you and I started chatting just a few days ago, and you sent me a summary, kind of like an explanation of AI command thing. I was like, it's a little it was over my head. It was over my head. So I was really looking forward to talking with you. So I totally understand what you're saying, and that was the thing. I gotta imagine. I have to imagine that there's a lot of people that go to their first milsim, like a bigger event, and leave that event going, "Holy cow, it was chaos!" Like it was fun. We had fun, because of the camaraderie and everybody's doing something, whatever. But you get out there and nobody knows anything, because in the military, you're training with your unit 24/7, nonstop. You live, you train, you eat, you sleep, you're constantly together. And all of your training, everyone is getting at the same time. You're all getting this information. And it's a very cohesive team most of the time, and you're always going to have the one guy that's just too dumb to understand, but you work around it. And so it's very different when you go to a milsim. Everyone comes from a different place and a different skill level, and as far as Airsoft and in life, right? They might be 19 years old and just just started getting out of the house or whatever, like who knows, and then you might have a 50-year-old old man there that was in the military and he understands tactics and whatever. And then, so it's all mixed up and you're not really, you don't really have a choice in what team you're on as far as like individually once you get there. If there's 100 people in each team, green and tan, you might be with 3 or 4 of your guys that you all went there together with, your friends. But your platoon is going to be bigger than 3 or 4 people. So you're working with all these people with different skill levels. And then you get a commander that's on the radio that has no clue how to give commands. And so you start hearing comm chatter going, we're under fire. We're under attack. And which location? They're in the trees. Like, we're dying. Like, dude, okay, you didn't say one thing that I can help you with. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. This is so true. And so I was alone there, but I just bumped into a pack of Russian dudes, and I understood they speak Russian, so I introduced, and that's why I ended up in their team. This was like 6 or 7 people. So it's kind of increased my tactical capabilities a little, because I could like use my native language too. But we obviously nobody of us understood like a little about like tactics and communication and stuff. So we just had buff and radios, and we exchanged some communication, but we didn't even know the names of the locations. Somebody called it church, somebody called it like just prison, somebody like, and we the whole event we kind of argued about what the name of it really, what is the real name.
Oh my god.
It was like a disaster really. So so much I learned this day, like the importance of training, or at least some brief, like, and like where everybody around the map, and okay, this home is like will be called A, this is location B, this is C, let's agreed, right? So I learned a lot. And so the first prototype after this game, AI command, was so this is basically let's say laptop, and you connect laptop to your Baofeng radio via just a plug, right? And you just click a button, you run the AI command on a laptop. And the only real problem here is that you need an internet right now, because I use some paid services, OpenAI, API point, these people who created GPT-4, GPT-3, all this hype stuff. So I use their services, therefore I need an internet. Yeah. So this laptop needs an internet. So it's one real problem with this AI command, but I hope that it will be overcome later when we get some systems we can just download and we can use without internet. So
right.
So you use this laptop with connected buffering radio, and you get the AI commander who is speaking to your platoon, to your group, to whatever, with a human voice. So you reporting to this AI command. You just like say, okay, sighted an enemy 50 meters, and my location, for example, is the certain location. So this AI command can recognize what you're saying, and it recognizes your call sign. It has some context around the battlefield, about the map, about what direction enemy is heading, for example, about what other enemies or possibly friendlies is close to you. So, for example, if I am south direction and I sighted enemy in north direction, and the AI also knows that north direction there is an friendly squad there. So this AI command can understand that probably enemy is closer to other friendly squad right now. So it can write down the information you sent, it can process the information, it can respond to you that, okay, I got it, and it can process and produce the message to other squad, like, heads up, you have enemy in reach, and be careful, or whatever. And it also can, for example, if we have Airsoft event and we basically have like capture as many points as you can. So AI command can recognize this, and it can orchestrate the battlefield for like 8 hours straight, and it will be using the reports you given him,
Right.
and it will produce the commands to achieve the goal of capturing. So
Right.
it is
So,
basically AI instead of a human being.
so if you had five objectives, kind of like domination or whatever, and your team is holding these two, but you can't take over these other, three or whatever. You have too many people over here for these two to guard it. You don't really need that many. It could kind of direct that and kind of even everything out to where that way people aren't standing around with their thumb up their butt, like, I don't know what to do or where to go. And AI can tell them, hey, this is the best place to go. Because a lot of times those commanders, they might not know all the things that are going on because maybe they don't hear a call come in. Maybe they don't hear the whole thing with the radio chatter and stuff. So they're not really understanding everything that's going on, or they have to go take care of somebody else, whatever, who knows. But so you're talking like they can kind of get all the information from that team as, in real time and direct things happening on the field.
Yeah, and for example, if you also going in deep and you saying, okay, Alpha platoon, like Alpha squad has a sniper, or Bravo squad has a medic, so it can also use this information to use this sniper to cover, for example, the movement, or it can use this medic if the AI command knows about, like, we have some squad down, it can like transfer the medic there because it knows that we got a report, we down, and we can transfer medic there, and medic can help. So it can really do some cognitive processing like a real human being would do. And do other magic. It's just a matter of how complex you want it to be, what information do you want to feed to this AI command, because again, it can know the map, it can know the distances, the angles, anything, and make really good suggestions, like human grade suggestions, military grade suggestions, right? So it's just a matter of how you configure it, really.
Yeah. So you would have to have a it would have to know the location where you're at, like kind of a layout almost. It would have to understand some of that, and then what do you do? Program that in?
So initially there was very simple approach. So whatever you are reporting to AI command via the radio, it hears, it knows. If you don't report anything, it doesn't know anything, like a human being, right? If you don't report, no intel is circulating, right? So, but today I'm working on something else. I'm working like every squad has a radio device, but it's not a buff-in radio. It is a mesh network device. I guess the skirmish uses the mesh network devices, but it's a different application, because what I want to do, I want to assign one mesh network device to every team leader of a squad, right? And we have 5 squads, 5 devices, and this device communicates with other devices and possibly with the command. If we have a command, we may not have a command. And all these devices have GPS, so this would automate completely the knowledge about who is where, right? For AI command or for other people, other squads. So this is different stories, different approaches. It's how complex you want to make it, right? Like if you assembling the system for your milsim event, for example.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, one of the good things is that once you get it set up on a certain field, especially if it's set up for like a bigger event. So like some of these big events that are held every year at the same location with the same objectives, as far as, the objectives are in the same location. Like once you get that mapped out, once you get it set up, then you won't have to really change it too much for that. There's going to be a lot of work to set it up. But once you set it
Mm-hmm.
up, and now that field, okay, we're good on that one. Now you can work on like another
Yeah.
one or whatever. Like it would be because there's a lot of events that are held at the same places every year or every so many months or whatever.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So it's a really big work to set up because you need to examine the map. What do we have? Point of
Mm-hmm.
interest, distances, whatever, right? But when you do this preparation, you really can reuse it later. You just need to adjust the platoons structure, the squads amount, right? This things that change. But yeah, the rest of it is really static info about the particular area.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be reused really. Um, and so again, going into the current state of things, where I am landed now is a little bit different story because what I understood, like NPU5 device from Persistent Systems, I think this is a device like of ecosystem of mesh network sensors. It's basically what is connecting the platoons, squads, people within one platoon. So I think I was get inspired a little bit by this idea, and I started working on something more broad. So this idea of like I was liking the Call of Duty Battlefield interface when I was playing Milsim, right? I was liking Intel. I was liking like understanding what's going on, and I wanted to explore like what interface can I add to my eyes or ears, and I started exploring like video interface. But then I realized it's super complicated. The only example we can know is Microsoft developing some AR headset for U.S. military. Extremely, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, expensive and nowhere near what we can touch, like real,
Right.
just normies, right? So then I realized, what about audio augmented reality? What about our ears? Because plug-in headset in my ears is super cheap, is probably simple, right?
Right.
So what about this? And also we used to, I mean, military folks and airsoft folks, we all kind of used to use radio anyway,
Yeah.
in some sense, right? I'm not super expert, but anyway, I used to it, right, a little bit.
Yeah.
So what I end up is basically a system that connects like my sensors, my eyes, my ears, to eyes and ears of my squad, right? So if I sighted a point of interest, for example, this direction, if I sighted like enemy, I just gesture, like I guess this army gesture, right, for enemies, like fist, like an enemy sighted. So I just produce a gesture, and I have a camera in my helmet, like cheap camera, $30.
Mm-hmm.
Not super expensive at least. So it can recognize that I'm gesturing the fist,
Yeah.
and it can also read the direction because I have electronic compass in my headset, and it can know my GPS because I have a GPS sensor here, right? So it can process all this information, and it can send this info about what I'm sighting, where I'm sighting, in what direction. It can send it via mesh network, which is off grid, which is no internet required. Obviously, milsim vents, open times, you don't have internet there.
Right.
And in the woods you also want. So it can send this information, this tactical intel, to everybody on my squad. But the interesting part is that you won't just get like enemies latitude, longitude is the following, and you just like, what can I do with this information? How can I read latitude, longitude? Do I need Google Maps or something? Right.
Right.
But my folks from my squad, they would also have the same system, and when it gets the information, it recognizes the latitude, longitude, and it reads your heading and your latitude, longitude, and it calculates from your perspective, from your eyes, what's the clock hours of this enemy or point of interest, and what's distance between. So basically, 1 second after I gestured, you face in this direction, you know that enemy is that direction, and maybe 100 meters because you a little bit like there, right? You are on a distance,
Yeah.
and I'm more closer to an enemy. So this idea, if it makes sense.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's a lot. Like that's a lot going on. The audio thing is perfect because, um, I was in the military before they had, drones and all this kind of cameras everywhere for, uh, for larger troop size stuff. Special ops they probably had stuff like that, but back in the late '80s, and everything was all verbal commands. Everything was through your radio. It was we had a map, a grid map, a topographical map of the area we
Yeah.
were going to be going to, and it was we had to study the map, memorize, and what grid markers and all the coordinates and stuff, and then you just know however many clicks you have to go to, for your. I mean, you have your compass, and all the commands were verbal. It was all through the radio. It was just go to this checkpoint over here. It was it's so many meters or yards or whatever. Like that, it was all verbal. We didn't have visual. We didn't have HUDs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's a. I see what you're saying with the getting some kind of HUD system set up for each player is it's almost for nowadays it's almost impossible unless you had, I don't know, a bunch of drones above the battlefield, static, like hovering the whole time, like
Mhm.
feeding information back and forth as to where people are and what's going on. But it's the verbal thing is pretty interesting. When Brandon was telling me about it, like, oh yeah, he's taking you can get commands, and then the AI takes it and then reads it back and gives out the proper commands to
Yeah.
where that's cool.
Yeah. So the AI command is now just a one virtual person from your squad. If you can afford the internet and if you wanna include AI in your squad or in your rather team, because it can serve everybody. So it can also read whatever you are gesturing. Like if, for example, you add in. So basically, by this gesture, you add a point on your virtual map, like an enemy, right? And you are adding pretty certain location because again it knows your direction, your heading, it knows your location, it knows the distance, so it can identify where the enemy is or point of interest is, right? And then AI command can translate this info and, for example, request the support from other squads. For example, we have a sniper somewhere there and can ask a sniper to look at certain direction from a sniper's position. So, like, look at your tree and if you can sight an enemy or not, like confirm or not, right? So you don't need to use compass and whatever. You instantly know where to look, like on your tree, right? So you just look there. So this is super fast from what I see, and it can elevate, I think, especially if you're like zero technical knowledge like myself, right? You play Ilsim first time, it can elevate the level of this team significantly. But what I think people who might be interested in, I more believe in like teams who play seriously, who's serious about it, right? Who spend some time on training before Milsim event, who play tactish on Milsims. So I think these folks potentially can be interested in using this. Because I don't want to make a business of it in any means right now. It's just my passion. It's interesting for me. So I wanna talk to folks. I wanna give them stuff to try. I wanna get feedback. So to kickstart this process of our circulation of feedback and what can be improved and all the stuff potentially.
The commands and stuff when they are you having to program certain commands, like when you try to let the AI give a command back on its own based on the information it gets, is it too long-winded? Is it too because I've typed in chat GTP, I've used it numerous times where just testing it out, right? Even just I said give me a summary, or I want to do a talk, right? Like a speech about my life experiences or my life story, and I put in key elements: raised Catholic, went in the military, did
Hmm.
whatever, right? And it came back with uh, I don't know, man, like 4 or 5, like really intricate, like really amazing, well written speech. I was
Hmm.
like, okay, this is pretty awesome. But for basic stuff that I've tried on it, it even it gives a really long-winded kind of thing, and it's really elegant. Reading it, it's really nice.
Yeah.
But so are you having to adjust some things like that for commands?
Yeah, actually adjusting the way it output things is a very important step because you need to basically explain the AI how to process the reports.
Mm.
You need to explain that we are like Milsim event, we are playing like Airsoft. We want you to be an AI command, and we want you to know that the map is the following. We have following structure and following
Oh
squads.
wow.
So it learns all of this stuff like a
Okay.
person. You would like explain it like to a person,
Yeah.
and you also ask to like be short,
Mm.
be very specific,
Precise.
and
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, use your like just imagine you are a military like commander,
Mm-hmm.
and just remember that we're not super serious here. We airsoft, we're not like real
Yeah. No one's
military
dying.
operations.
Okay.
Yeah, no one's dying. We just we've been hit. So yeah, you need to create all this explanation as you would explain to a person, a person who knows everything basically, like
Right.
who can be a cook and a military commander and a helicopter driver and everybody, pilot.
The
So
Matrix.
yeah,
Okay. Yes.
yeah, yeah. So and this AI command will work for you as you want it to work, and you need to, you know, it's a try and adjust like cycle. You need to see what output you get, and like if it's super short, you maybe want to make the answer more long, or vice versa. You need to play and you want to adjust it like several cycles, to see what
Mm-hmm.
the output is. So yeah, it's really experimental stuff. So we just got few years ago only this technology really for a public use.
Right.
So this is super new,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody really knows how to use it 100%, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Everyone's testing it out. It's I see all these videos now where I told Chat GTP to make a spot or a Shopify store for me. Okay. It's like all these
Yeah.
training classes and that kind of thing. But so speaking of that, of AI in general, uh,
Hmm.
you know, how do you feel about uh, talking about AI as far like the future of AI? Do you feel like when Elon Musk came out a few years ago talking about how it's going to end, pretty much what we've seen in sci-fi movies, like it's going to turn
Hmm.
everything against us because we're so stupid and and inefficient, that kind of thing. How do you feel about that kind of stuff?
Um, I mean, there are speculations, of course,
Right.
but like few noticeable people in AI field, even they been caught on like mistakes and wrong predictions. So I think you like nobody can really understand what's going on next because we've got few surprises, and I mean I'm following this subjects, obviously, right, very close. Like friend of mine has a channel and he writes a lot about AI, like in deep. Every time we see the news about AI advancement, he analyzes it and write about it.
Mm,
Um, I personally use AI every day. I write the code for this system using the same AI I'm using in this system.
yeah.
So I am super dependent right now on this technology because it accelerates me like, I don't know, 10x. So
Wow.
right now I have like code I couldn't. The code I have right now without an AI I would have rolled it like for weeks, for months, and now I can for a few hours I can achieve things I like I would not achieve without an AI. So
Yeah.
it super accelerates me,
That's cool.
especially in
Okay.
coding stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So answering your question, I have no idea what will be next.
Yeah, I don't.
But I like what's going on right now.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Like yeah, I don't know why. I guess it's hard to think that those kind of bad things could happen where, the machines will turn against us kind of thing. But there's so many movies out about it, It's like, they're interesting and they're fun. They're fun to watch, but it's, I don't know. I don't feel that way. I feel like, as soon as GTP came available, I was right on it, man. I was like, yeah, let's learn how to use this thing, Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, human species, human did in general a lot of stuff, like questionable stuff, and we know that human in general is not super aware of the consequences of the actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like in general, I can believe we can, destroy the world. Why not? It's possible, but the speculating about this, I'm just not confident enough to to speculate, because we really don't understand. Even people who develop the stuff, they don't exactly understand how this thing works, because when they create a new iteration of their system, GPT-4, it ends up knowing the math. It knows how to solve math problems, but they didn't know and didn't aim for, teaching it how to solve math problems, but it learned somehow.
Wow.
Nobody knows how.
Yeah.
So nobody can control what will
Mm.
be next, really. So this is super unpredictable space.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's exciting to me. I'm not afraid of it. I think it's what's going to happen is going to happen. It's the progression of things, like of curiosity, and as we build on top of other ideas, right? We don't have to start from zero every day. We remember
Yeah.
what was already accomplished, and we can continue from that. I mean, it's you know, I don't think it's going to end in Terminator 2 style. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is really the what we can expect from the humanity. We optimize ourselves. Like, I don't know. You can imagine, like, 300 years ago, without telegraph, without really communication between cities, between countries, like, people would waste a lot of time and, I don't know, the energy of achieving something that is super easy to achieve now. Like, one example is that when people, I don't remember details, but one country, and near the coast, you can expect a lot of, like, people who fishing, and they end up, like, throwing away all this fish only because they didn't know that, for example, the price on a fish in other place is super interesting for them, so they can, like, right there and sell all the fish there. But then they got the radios and they started communicating between each other, and then prices on a fish, like, in this area, it dropped significantly. But simultaneously, these people, they won't throw the fish away, they sell it and they make more money. So everybody is, like, win-win situation, right?
Yeah.
It's only because people started communicating, starting, like, optimizing what they're doing. It's like data as meaningful stuff. So they just started exchanging data and they become richer and, better in general. Like, life is improved for them. So we are doing this every day. We're trying to optimize how we exchange knowledge and data, and we just, trying to make to do less with to do more with less effort every day, which
Right.
is understandable. And
Absolutely.
AI can absolutely help us, right, with this.
Well, can AI fix or help men and women in their relationships? Because
I think
even today, with all the communication methods, bro, there's so many things that are just unsaid. Like that as guys, we're supposed to know what the girl is thinking, bro. I don't even know. Okay, we need AI to help.
I know a dude who right now is running a startup, which is basically with the same purpose, to help people in communication with, like, with other people in relationships.
Mm.
What to send, what message to send, how to approach the communication. So I guess so. I know people are using this. I know AI can really help with some ideas, at least sometimes. So yeah, probably.
Yeah, right. That's funny.
Sounds crazy, right? But
It does. I mean, but it's really needed. I mean, I thought honestly, being in our where we're at now with technology, where it is, and how long we've had it, as far as communication technology, telephones, and like you don't have to be face to face to talk with people anymore. I thought social interaction would be like really easy for most people, but I feel like it's almost gone a little bit the opposite way because people have everything they need in their homes. They don't have to go out so much, and it's like they're in this little bubble, and they're so afraid to talk to people. I'm like, bro, it's really easy. It's okay. Like, just go. So, yeah, I've seen these apps, these ads for these apps, like a AI type of thing, where you can build a character and it talks to you and
mhm.
it'll text you, whatever throughout the day to kind of like just chat
Yeah,
with
yeah,
you, for people that are
yeah, yeah,
lonely, I
yeah.
guess. Yeah,
Yeah, I never tried. But again, for certain people, I guess it may help. Like, for example, I don't know, like with depression or something, right?
sure.
That probably when you're in a hard times, you need just a person who will, kind of hear and respond something meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have these people around, which I can understand sometimes, right? This happens. So this can probably help you
Yep.
because it really can hear and it can like process what you're saying and generate something meaningful. So this is interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
for
Like
sure.
it's just right now it's ad hoc. People like building stuff like myself, some random stuff like
Yeah.
experimentation stuff around it. But probably we will see in the future some, like, I don't know, proven techniques how to solve real world problems with this AI. We just haven't had time to document it, to run experiments on it. It's super fresh, right? Super recent, so
Yeah.
we just haven't been done by anybody yet.
So so kind of changing gears a little bit from that
Yeah.
to the airsoft, your airsoft experience. What when you went to your first event, uh, you weren't experienced in airsoft, but what kind of gun did you use? What kind of gear did you use? Was there anything that you showed up to the event with that you regretted and wished you had some other gun or gear or anything?
Oh yeah. Yeah, but so I bought ARP9 for my CQB stuff.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, RP9. I guess it's one. Yeah, it's one jewel, and I wish I had something more serious, like one and a half jewel, because as a limit, 1.5 jewel, right? Because the BB's trajectory I didn't like at all. It failed too quickly. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't. I'm not sure if I even, like, shot anybody. I don't know. It was so random,
You did.
crazy.
It just bounced off the floor first. Okay.
Yeah. But you know what? One piece of gear I was happy I have. It was like my ear protective earmuffs, like active noise protection,
Yeah.
right? I Because when you in building and you've been thrown a lot of grenades, you just I don't like loud noises, like in general. I like quiet environments, and I can only imagine what my experience would have been without this. I would lost my hearing.
Oh yeah.
This is interesting because once upon a time in school, I've got like we had a class where we actually shot AK-47, like real one,
Nice.
and after first shot, I was like, boom, I don't understand what's going on. I'm like, my mind is out because I'm super noise in my ears. I am like, what's the word? So this is condition like short contusion or something.
Right.
So
That
I
concussion. Yeah.
didn't like it.
And
Yeah, it's like was not super not super
yeah,
pleasant for
you're
me.
deaf for a little bit.
Oh
That's
yeah,
why
yeah.
I used to always tease my kids as they got older, and we'd watch. Me and my boys would watch war movies or something together, action movies, and action movies. A lot of them, they show people having a firefight in like a
Mm-hmm.
small building with all
Mm-hmm.
concrete walls, and then as
Yeah.
soon as they're done, they're like talking to each other, like just normal
Yeah.
voices. I'm like, nope, nope, not happening. No,
Yeah, 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 I know. Or
it's
you're
so loud.
shooting from the car, right? You're
Yeah.
just shooting
Oh
from the
God.
car, and you're
Yeah.
okay. You,
Hmm.
I'm okay. Yeah, I can't do this more. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I know. It's crazy. You learn a lot during these events, right? Like
Hmm.
that. Oh, action movies, they are not super, and video games especially, they are super far from reality. In video games, we are super efficient. We know
Yeah.
everything. We know what to do. In
Hmm.
reality, you don't. That's why I wanna on my next Milsim event, I want to have this headset, and my dudes, I want them to have it too, so
Right.
we could elevate this a little bit, right? So I want to, if my like team leader pointing into direction of the cover he directed us to take, I want instantly to understand where this cover is,
Hmm.
and I want to run there. So I want to be more efficient in this sense next time.
Absolutely. Well, the way you started with the idea of what you're doing now, and the way Brandon started with skirmish, it was kind of the same. Um, I guess genesis of origin, I guess, of the idea was because you went to an event, you said, oh shit, like how do they, well, nobody knows what's going on. And Brandon, him and his brother went to an event and said, nobody knows what's going on. Like no one knows what objective has been taken, like what the hell. And that was
Yeah.
his first idea of, okay, how can I fix that? And it sounds like you had a very similar experience, and you want to, fix that, like what's missing in these events.
Hmm.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah, I think this kind of really similar, but the approach I think is it's different, right? So
Hmm.
like if Brandon's like audience would be the airsoft like owners of airsoft fields, so my potential like audience would be the teams who want to use this as
Mm.
their own personal gear. Doesn't matter what other people do or use. It's like if you want to use, I don't know, NVG, right? In your night vision goggles, you can do this. If you don't use it. And this
Right.
is the same. If you wanna use this, if you understand the benefits, if you wanna do some experimentation, because it's super early pre-alpha demo, like prototype right now.
Uh huh.
Go for it, right? So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah. Awesome. Well, listen, man, it's been great talking with you. I appreciate all the info. It's really fascinating. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the future with what you're developing, and especially with working with Brandon. You guys coming up with ideas on how to improve the gameplay experience for a lot of airsofters. That usually they get excited about going to this event. They show up. They have all this gear they've invested in. They bought the ticket. They get there. The first hour of the game, that's going to be like 2 days, right? 2 days long. The first hour, they take over an objective. Maybe they got shot a couple times, and now what do we do? you know, like
Oh yeah.
it kind of sucks. It's deflating when that happens. So yeah, this will be
Yeah.
exciting to see add some excitement to the missions.
Yeah, man, super excited to really like to elevate the gameplay for all the folks, for myself, because it's always started from yourself, your experience, right? So yeah, thank you for having me. Was a super interesting conversation. Yeah, a lot of things that I really had in my head before, and like it's super resonating with what you're saying and what's Brandon said. I listened to a podcast with him, like when you first
Oh
met
yeah.
and talked.
Okay.
Oh, super aligned with a lot of things, really. So yeah,
Awesome, man. Well, I'll definitely have you on again. Maybe you and Brandon on together or something. Later on as you guys develop what you're working on and kind of pinpoint, finish up some of these things and maybe try it out in an event or whatever. Really looking forward to that, and I want to keep in contact with you about that too, because I'd love to see, or if it's close to me, be at an event that you're going to use this, for the first time at.
Yeah, would be awesome.
Awesome, man.
And then Brandon and I, we will get a call from FBI because we developed so much. We make a military grade system they want to talk about.
Well, when me and Brandon talked, he was like, I said, so what's your background and stuff? He's kind of, he's a little shy, right? He's not real. And when he first started talking, and I said, no, you can go ahead, talk, it's fine. He was like, well, I was in the Navy and they sent me to MIT. Then I worked with the DOD through DARPA. And I was like, bro, wait, hold on now. Like, I'm going to have somebody knocking at my door over here. Like, okay.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That's funny. Hell yeah, man. Well, awesome, cool, man. I appreciate you being on, Roman. Good luck in all your stuff. And looking forward to seeing new developments with that. And really excited about it. So I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, man. It was a pleasure for me too.
All right, brother.